Hello everyone, this is Julia Fair in Fair's Craft Lair, and I have another YouTube Tuesday video for you today. I'm still setting up my new craft room in our new home. I should say our new but very old home. I'm running a little behind on being able to get everything perfectly set up the way that I want it for you, but I'd rather be making some videos instead. And so today we're going to be making this Sprinkled with Love card, and it uses the rose glimmer paper, which is really fun, and it uses this stamp set, Hello Cupcake, which is a Sale-a-bration item. You can get this for free with any $50 order. And I would love to be able to help you to be able to pick out the products that you would like. And there are several things I'm going to show you this week that would be helpful for you. You could design these cards or these projects exactly how I'm doing them and be able to make them at home with some of the supplies that we have today. So we're going to set this aside for the moment. We have 3 different ink colors that we're going to be using. We're going to be using Blushing Bride, Gray Granite, and Highland Heather. I'm also using my Stampin' trimmer, and you'll have to forgive me. This is one of those things. I haven't found my paper yet. My grid paper, so this is like the last piece that I have that I had set aside. All right, and then I have a 6" by 1/2" strip of the rose glimmer paper. This is about 1 by 3. Honestly, it's a scrap that I'm going to use for my sentiment. And this is a panel of Highland Heather that is 5.5 by 2. And then I just have a piece of Blushing Bride, and we're going to punch out a circle. And then I have what we're going to use for my card base, which is the Whisper White Thick cardstock. And I'm going to show you how to score that. So I'm going to go lengthwise 4 1/4. And the Stampin' trimmer has 2 different blades, or 2 different sliders. One is actually a blade. The darker one will cut, and the lighter one will score. So if I simply slide this up and down, and I can press down here, and that'll hold my paper in place, which is really nice. And it'll also move that blade, or that scoring blade, completely out of the way on both ends, so that neither of them will get in the way of each other. All right. So then I have my score mark, which is what I want. And I like being able to make 2 at once because that means that I've got 2 card bases to go. So I'm going to hold that down, and here's my trimming blade. Press it all the way up. Oh, well, that didn't cut all the way through. I was going a little too light. So guess what? I line it right back up and go right in, and there it is. And I don't even have any, there's nothing showing that I had missed that by accident. That's how awesome it is. So the blades just sit in here. They actually come out on the end here. They just lift out, and they have a little hook on the end. So they're replaceable when they get dull, and it's really your cutting blade that you're going to need to do that with. This locks so that you can't lose them, and that arm won't flip around. All right. And then you also have an arm extension, so you can measure paper that is up to 14 inches or more for cutting and scoring. So that's really awesome. And right now, Stampin' Up! Has 12" so we don't really need anything above 12 inches, but that's how that goes. There's also a little kickstand for that when you put that out, you want to make sure that you put your kickstand out as well, so that you're not getting any distortion in the level of the paper, because that can affect your cutting. All right, so now we have 2 card bases. I really only need 1, so I'm going to set one aside. And now I'm going to fold it. And we had this was my scoring, and it was the valley side, so it was scored with it down. I'm going to press that one outward. That's the best way to do it, so that you get a nice clean score. And then I'm just going to use my bone folder to press that down. All right, so that is our card base. Pretty easy. I haven't done card bases in a while. So, all right, the next thing that we're going to do is use the decorative ribbon punch. Oh my gosh, the name of this, a decorative border ribbon punch. Ooh, it's on my blog listed correctly. Okay, anyway, this one's a little, it can be a little tricky to use. I like to line it up on both sides. And I want my end to be at where one of the little dots is. I don't want it to end in the middle of one of these. I like it to end in the dots. Okay, so I do that, line it up, press down, and now we're going to use all those little dots to help line it up again on one side. And you want to press it against the edge on both sides if you have it. Otherwise you want it to line up really nice and clear on one side and then press from the edge on the other side. This is one of the few punches that you actually want to use facing up. And you want one of the repetitions to be in the punch. There we go. So there's, I got that end. And this is 6 inches by 1/2 inch. And all the measurements are on my blog, so you don't have to worry about measurements, which is great. And if you get your supplies ready, you can just do this along with me. All right, so this is actually longer than I need it, and that's on purpose, and I'll show you guys in a little bit why I did that. Let's get our scraps out of the way. Voila. This nice big wood desk I have, I'm able to finally use the whole thing. We couldn't get the whole thing up in the craft room at our old house, so I'm really excited and happy. We'll see how it works for me. It looks like it's already going to be more effective and efficient. That was the 2-inch punch, so I'm really excited about that. And a coffee break real quick. It's a Tuesday morning, so all right, we're going to start by stamping on the card base first. All right, we're going to use the sprinkles with Highland Heather, and we're just going to do the top half, or the half that's by the fold. Okay, and I'm going to do it all over. Tap, tap, tap. Making sure that I really don't have any gaps if I can help it. You can tell I'm doing this pretty quickly. Alright, stamp off the excess. Making sure that I'm still videoing. It's one of the last things I don't want to stop the videoing. Ooh, if something didn't work. Alright, the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp. Oh, I need some scrap paper. Oh, good thing I have it up here. Excellent. All right. I just need some little scraps for the cupcakes. All right, so I'm going to do the cupcake, the actual cake part. It's just this little sliver. You want to tap, tap, tap. There we go. That guy's in purple. All right. So I think that's all the Highland Heather that we're doing. Now I'm going to move on to the gray granite. And I'm going to do the cupcake base. That goes in here with this. Alright. Looks pretty good. Again, tap that off. Now this is going to be for the cupcake top. So, but I need my sentiment strip. Alright. So this is sprinkled with love. Great for most any occasion. You can use this for a lot of different things. I'm going to stamp it kind of to the left-hand side. Sorry if my head got in the way. I'm trying to line it up really nice. That looks pretty good. All right, and the last thing I'm going to stamp is going to be in Blushing Bride. We don't have an actual rose color that matches this glimmer paper, but the Blushing Bride is really close, and it's close enough for me. I think it looks great. So that's just, it's perfect enough for me. It's not going to be absolutely perfect, and that's okay. I could stamp on this, but I want it to be popped up, so I'm going to stamp on another separate piece. And I love being able to just use up some scrap for this. Perfect. So that's what I'm planning to do. All right, now here's the thing. This is fussy cutting, and I don't know how many of you have actually done fussy cutting. You can get as detailed or as not detailed as you want to, all right? I'm gonna stick with a little bit simpler. Today the trick is when you're curving to keep your scissors moving. All right, and if you don't like doing this yourself, you could take one of our large punches and punch these shapes out for the most part, okay? And I actually, on my other card, I went through the hassle of doing most of the curlicue here. I'm not actually gonna do that because I don't need to. I'm rushing a little bit simply because I want to make sure that I'm not taking too long on camera for you guys. So, but you can follow the edge, all right? And I got really close on this side. All right, so you can also take, if you don't like some of the edges that you make, you can kind of round them off a little bit. These snips are excellent for being able to get the detail. You can also take like a really soft foam nail file and go over these edges and it'll smooth them out. That's a trick that I do a lot, all right? So don't hesitate if you see some little sharp points or something and you don't like it. It's not all for naught. It's not wasted. It's just a matter of, honestly, it's a lot of practice. All right, and then the cupcake base, and I'm just gonna go straight across here. I didn't on my other one. I tried to mimic some of the shape, and it was fine. And this top edge doesn't matter so much because it's getting covered up. So if you start with a cupcake base, you'll probably have better success. It's a good way to start. You always just start a little farther out, you know, and you can work your way in. And I'm gonna curve that around. And I have a little tiny point right here. Just gonna get that off. My husband has left for work, and my dog got me up nice and early. I wish I could have slept in, but I couldn't sleep in. And the girl is still sleeping, so that makes for a great time for me to do some crafting. All right, so now I'm done with the fussy cut. Well, I should do the other. This is the banner cut edge, okay? So, and I love doing banner cuts, and this is a good way for you to practice any type of cutting without it being, without it being too challenging. All right, so I just made a slit for how far up I want the banner ends to go, and then I go from the corner to that end of the cut in the middle, and then I'm going to do it the same from the other side, and that makes a really nice banner cut. We also have a punch that does it, and it's called the triple banner punch because it cuts in 3 different sizes. So it has different like levels of the tray, so you can get 3 different paper sizes in there. But it's something that I don't necessarily, I like doing smaller ones. I don't do a lot of bigger ones, so having that banner punch for me hasn't been something I needed quite yet. So, all right, now it's time to assemble. We're just going to use snail for most of this, and then we're going to use some dimensionals, all right? So the first thing we're going to start with is the purple strip. Highland Heather, excuse me. All right, and I want that, I like turning this and using the grid lines on my paper. To line that up, there we go. All right, that's pretty good. The next thing that we're gonna do is to put this down. paper is a tiny bit sticky. I think I put this on third as far as layers go. All right, so this strip, here's what we're gonna do. Remember how I said I like the repetitions to be even and end really pretty and stuff like that? Okay, so it turns out that this end actually ends prettier for me. It's actually a perfect, it ends just about perfect where, then that's what I wanted. I'm halfway in the dot. Okay, and now this is halfway in the dot. So if you make sure that one of your ends perfectly with the dot for a 5.5 inch length, this will fit perfectly, and I love that. That's very happy for me. Okay, so I'm just gonna flip this over, and I get frustrated very quickly and easily. I'm gonna go almost all the way because I know I'm not gonna use that part, but I get frustrated with adhesive and trying to put a lot of adhesive on this. So I'm just gonna do this, and there's a lot of people who will say you shouldn't do that, it's don't use snail, it doesn't hold up as well, and then you get all the little strings and stuff. Well, okay, if you watch my fingers, what I'm doing right now is all the little adhesive that I would see in between or around the edges and stuff, I'm pulling it away from the holes. So that it won't be tacky on my card. And as long as I get most of them, I'm pretty good. And this is perfectly fine for being able to hold this thin strip on. I'd rather do this. It's not going to show. The Glimmer paper hides it really well. So I just, for sake of ease, would like to do that. But you certainly can use, and that doesn't apply for all of ours. If I was using the white Glimmer paper, it would probably show more, so the adhesive would show more. So I'd wanna use like the fine tip glue pen for that then. All right, so I do need my snips again. You see it's a little off. All right, so I'm just gonna open up my card. I'm gonna trim that off right here. There we go. All right, the other thing, since I have my scissors, I did trim this down, this last little piece. We are going to use as a decoration for the cake. So I just am rounding off it off, making it look pretty even. There we go. All right, so there's our little decoration, and again, I'll just use some snail on that. Not a big deal. Right, I love that Glimmer paper can create so much fun texture and interest, and it's not a lot of fuss. All right, so I'm just gonna put a little bit of adhesive on the back of this, and all I'm gonna do is stick it onto my icing swirl at the top, which is also why I didn't need to fussy cut so much about that. I took more time on the other one, but really it's not a big deal. Okay, so that's that. Now I'm officially done with my scissors. Okay, so first things first, we're going to adhere the base of the cupcake to the cup, or to the circle. There we go. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna adhere the rest of this first, because this is gonna be popped up and then it's gonna be popped up again. Okay, so I want to I'm putting extra on the back. There we go. All right, I'm gonna line this up, and I'm gonna be careful not to press it down. There we go. All right, now you see, I can see where I put my adhesive, where I put the dimensionals, so I can put another layer of them on. And I'm gonna fill in, and that's gonna be, so I got 2 layers here and there, which is what I need to support that. All right, because I want the icing of the cupcake to be popped up even higher. So there's two levels of dimensionals here. The circles popped up one level, and then the icings popped up a second level. If you haven't done that before, it's really fun to be able to do that. The only reason why I have to do it this way is because I want the icing needs to be supported off of the circle. It goes off of the circle, so it needs to have a second layer. And instead of trying to do that on the card, it's easier to get it adhered here first and then be able to do my second level of dimensionals. So now everything is the proper levels, and all I have to do is put it over and press it down. And that's our card today. So, a little bit fancier of a card. I've been trying to do simple stamping, and this certainly incorporates some simple stamping, but this is definitely with the fussy cutting. This is for like the avid crafter, okay? Tomorrow I will be showing you probably a similar version to this, but simpler. So it's not a simpler version of this, so that it's for a beginner or maybe a casual crafter. All right, so I also wanted to share with you, if you have not seen my blog post from Monday, the instructions are there for you, the tutorial for that, for this card. So this is my Monday card, and it uses Berry Burst and Powder Pink and Lemon Lime Twist, which I absolutely love, and this Gingham Gala paper, which if you haven't seen it, it's a designer series pack that has 5 different colors in it. 5 different colors, and it coordinates with the new butterfly suite, which is really cool. A lot of the colors in this go in the designer series paper, and that butterfly paper is botanical butterflies, and it's also a Sale-a-bration item, and I used that already a couple weeks ago, so I have instructions on my blog